Okay, once again, good morning or good afternoon. Thank you for joining our webinar together with AXELOS on ITIL Practitioner Training and Certification. My name is Jeroen. I'm with Quint Redwood and I will be your host during this session. Just some basic explanation on the webinar. By default, all participants are on mute. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A box. You can find it in the right side on your screen. We will try to answer them in the end of the session. Even if there are technical problems, use the Q&A box. We have support standing by. We try to finish the webinar within 25 minutes and use 5 minutes for questions and answers. We will record this webinar and we will make this available to you later on. Let's first talk a little bit about Quint Wellington Redwood. Quint is an independent management consulting firm. We established early 90s in Amsterdam and we work globally with more than 250 consultants. And basically we have operations in almost all continents and 49 countries, and our main focus is on sourcing, governance, IT service management, and connected to IT service management also Lean IT, Agile and DevOps. We are a founding member of the DevOps Agile Association and the Lean IT Association. Quint Wellington Redwood has 3 business lines. One is our consulting practice. Connected to that, we also offer global level all kinds of IT management training courses, where ITIL is a big part of it, and we also help other training providers to include those kinds of IT management training courses in their portfolio. And I would now like to give the presentation to Claire from AXELOS to introduce AXELOS a little bit more. Claire, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Good morning and afternoon. I'll tell you a little bit about AXELOS. So AXELOS was a joint venture set up in 2014 by the UK government and Capita. Our goals are around helping businesses and individuals reach success by best practice frameworks and methodologies, and also with a personal development scheme. AXELOS is committed to nurturing best practice communities, so we have interest in ITSM, project and portfolio management, cybersecurity and personal development. We aim for a result of improving skills in industries and also enhancing employability for individuals. So we provide better trained employees, streamlined operations, and a peace of mind knowing that you're working with an industry that's leading in that field. So next slide, please. So for our presentations today, we have Kaimar Karu from AXELOS, who is the head of ITSM. We also have Claudine Kers, who is a senior consultant at Quint, and was also a reviewer and as part of the ITIL Practitioner creation. For today's agenda, we'll be talking to you about ITIL Practitioner, how it can support your ITIL journey. So Kaimar will be covering some challenges for ITSM professionals, qualification and skill development, also ITIL practitioners focus, so what people can learn and what people should take out of the course, and also how you can help use those skills further in your career. Claudine will then cover Quint-specific training portfolio. So the objective of the day is to understand how to successfully start building a culture of continuous improvement in your IT organization. So I'll now hand over to Kaimar, who will talk to you about ITIL Practitioner.
So I'm going to cover the ITIL Practitioner or the IT Service Management Practitioner journey. So it's going to start with you who has some skills in IT Service Management, you who has a knowledge in IT Service Management, you are at your job, and then most likely you will see various challenges coming through, various job-related challenges in service management. And some of them are easy, some of them are more difficult. The question is how to handle them. So you can apply your skills and you can apply your knowledge and then attack those challenges, and very often you do succeed. Sometimes, though, when you try to attack those challenges, they resist, right? So you try, you can't solve them, you try again, you can't solve them. So the question is, what's going to happen next? In most cases, you would understand, well, kind of having extra knowledge would be useful, and you also understand that it's not a short journey to get to the final point to actually solve all these challenges. It's a slightly longer journey. So in terms of the qualification scheme, most likely you would start with ITIL Foundation. So ITIL Foundation is the what and the why of IT service management and ITIL. It doesn't fully prepare you to go back to the organization and then start changing everything, but it gives you the overview of what ITIL is, what service management is, why service management is useful, and how IT service management fits with the rest of the organization. So that's really, really relevant knowledge. The next step you need to take is ITIL Practitioner. So this is the newest qualification in the qualification scheme. And you can take ITIL Practitioner right after ITIL Foundation if your training provider supports that. So it can be a 5-day, slightly long but very useful course, or you can take it afterwards as well. And with ITIL Practitioner, there's a few key central bits to ITIL Practitioner. So first of all, it's the guiding principles. So ITIL Practitioner brings out 9 guiding principles of ITIL and IT service management. They are quite closely linked to other frameworks, methodologies, and philosophies as well, such as Lean and Agile and DevOps. So people who are more fluent in ITIL would recognize them as being part of the ITIL core guidance for years, but we have never had them spelled out like this before. So the guiding principles help any IT service management professional at any level with any task to figure out if the path they have chosen makes sense, if it actually helps the organization. So starting with making sure that there's focus on value, making sure that when new services are being designed, when something is being changed, the customer is kept in mind. So the solution is designed for customer experience, not just for the coolness factor of the technological solution. It also advises you to start where you are rather than scrap everything and start from scratch. It would like you to work holistically, so not working in just your small team without any regard to what's happening in the organization. It's more about how what you do fits with the rest of the organization, with the rest of the IT service management teams as well. Progressing iteratively, which is an agile concept as well. So rather than going for the big bang, you should look at how you can deliver value faster and continually. Observing directly is advising you not to just rely on the reports, but actually go and see what's happening in real life. So go and see how the teams are working, go and sit down with your customers, and so on. Being transparent is not about hiding what you're doing. It's making it very explicit and visible, working with the rest of the organization. Collaborate, same style, so working with the rest of the organization and keeping it simple, which in many cases, the key takeaway from there would be you don't need a huge process, you don't need hundreds of pages of process documentation. Just keep it simple, create as much as you need and take it from there, because people get scared when they see too much documentation. Another thing which is a central point for IT practitioner is the critical competencies, which are 3. So there's measurement and metrics, communication, and organization change management. So when we were working on the qualification with the practitioner architect team, these 3 critical competencies came out as anyone working in IT service management, especially those after foundation level, need to know these 3 things to be successful in their career and help the organization. So we are covering these. And ITIL Practitioner is built around the CSI approach, which is one part of the CSI lifecycle stage. So these 6 steps. So it teaches you how to use these 6 steps for any size of improvement. For people who are more fluent in IT service management, who are already maybe on an ITIL intermediate level or perhaps even ITIL expert level, all of these skills that you get from practitioner are still valid. The ITIL practitioner exam is not a feel-good exam in the sense that it's going to ask you about all the great things you have been doing in your past 5 or 10 years of professional life. It really wants you to explain in practice how you would use the CSI approach to structure your improvements, or how you have done that, how you apply the knowledge about the critical competencies to make sure that the initiatives are successful. So if you are experienced in IT service management, many of these things most likely you would have done already, but there is quite a lot of new information in ITIL Practitioner, and our advice is for anyone on ITIL Intermediate level or already on ITIL Expert level to take a look at ITIL Practitioner and see if they find useful information and knowledge from there. And the way the courses are being structured, it's a practical approach. So it's not about looking at PowerPoint slides for 2 or 3 days. It is actually applying the knowledge to a scenario and then kind of going through various situations and applying that. So that's pretty practical. So on your practitioner journey, after you have taken the ITIL Practitioner qualification, then most likely you would go back to the organization and then get some experience. You would try to tackle the challenges once again, now with a better overview of how you can be successful with this. Organization change management, for instance, being one of the key things you need to know. How to identify your stakeholders, how to manage them, how to make sure that you have all the support you need in the organization for what you want to achieve. And once you have gathered some experience, the next step for you would be the ITIL Intermediate, which gives you the specialist skills for your job role, and they are in the context of a specific stage in the service lifecycle. For those who have taken ITIL Foundation in the past and want to refresh your knowledge and go to a more specialized route, one way to do this would be to bundle ITIL Practitioner and one of the ITIL Lifecycle Intermediates into a 5-day course, which gives you both the how of adopting and adapting ITIL and the deeper understanding of a specific lifecycle stage where you would be working. Again, you have taken the intermediate, you go back to your workplace, you get more experience, you take a few more intermediates to get a better understanding of how it all fits together. And the next step for you as an IT service management professional would be to take a look at ITIL Expert. So ITIL Expert, to get to that stage, you need to take the Managing Across the Lifecycle course, which puts together all the lifecycle stages and shows you the holistic view of service management and ITIL. Now, for some people, and we do hope it's going to be more and more over the years, that might not be enough. So again, they have their expert level knowledge, they go back to the workplace, they get more experience, and then the last step of the qualification scheme is ITIL Master. So ITIL Master is about proven success with adopting and adapting ITIL in an organization. So this is where there is no exam. There's a team of people who assess your submission about how you have actually applied ITIL in the organization. So as I said before, we would encourage everyone who has already started their ITIL Intermediate / Expert path to also take a look at ITIL Practitioner, because when we were developing the qualification and after we have released the publication and the exams, the feedback from ITIL experts from around the world has been that they have found the content to be very useful, and it helps them to structure their thinking as well. So those of you familiar with Lean, the CSI approach is your kata. This is what you practice on a daily basis on all kinds of improvements. And it's important to keep in mind that ITIL Practitioner and the guidance there is not just meant for those who lead improvements, who lead large improvements. It's meant for everyone who participates in improvements on all levels, which essentially means it's useful for everyone working in IT service management. Thank you.
Thank you, Kaimar, for your explanation. We will now move over to Claudine. Claudine is one of the reviewers of the ITIL Practitioner course. So let's move to the next slide. Claudine, please go ahead.
Thank you, Jeroen. Good morning, good afternoon. It has been very nice to work together with AXELOS to develop and review and see this new movement of this course really, because when I was teaching these courses and people come to the foundation, they got very enthusiastic and say, okay, I go back to my office, I'm going to implement it, and they always come back to me and say, okay, it's not that easy, I got challenges with my boss, I got challenges with my peers, how do I handle that, where do I start? So, and they always say, okay, what kind of intermediate course do I want to do? Do I do the life cycle, or do I do a capability? And then that's why this course is really adapting to the needs of the students to actually adapt and adopt ITIL into the real life. So what we try to do with our course material is also do a very practical course, because we need to apply conceptual knowledge in the real world. So what we did is we have a case-based training to put in practice everything we know about ITIL. So there's a real case study, and we work together with the students to put this in practice. That means that the teacher in this case is a facilitator of the learning process. And that's our vision also on the courses these days. Learning is change and change is learning. So during my process of learning about ITIL and adapting it, and I start changing, but the world around me is changing and the people in my companies are changing, so we need to experiment. So we need to create a setting in a course where it's possible to interchange information between each other, to challenge, to do elevator pitches, to present plans, to talk with each other. What is the best sponsors? How do we start improving? So during in experimentation and reflection, you have what we call a double loop learning. So everything learned in this course is actually good for during the exam, as well as applying in your real life in your back in the office. So it's assurance of the material on a long-term memory, because we involve the attendee in this. So it is important the information is relevant. It's timing means that you offer the next step in the course, so the assignments are built up one after each other in a logical sense, that offering a lecture and offering assignments makes it a logical steps and logical chronological path of understanding the conceptual knowledge of ITIL. And of course it needs to be fun. In the next slide we can see that every assignment we put in the course is different. We have elevator pitches, we have plans, we need to do work in groups and do presentations, we have to make reports, and we use all the templates available in the toolbox of the AXELOS ITIL Practitioner Guidance. There is in the material of the book, it's an open book exam, so every student needs to have the book, and in the back of the book there is a lot of tool templates, and these templates we will use in this course as well. So we have some rubrics, we have some to show what's the best solution, a good solution. Here's just an example. When we do a SWOT analysis or a stakeholder, or we do a CSI register or an elevator pitch, what is a good solution or best or weak solution? So it helps also the participants to learn and judge their own work or their peers' work, and to improve during the course. What we did also in the course is give you information or infographics. That means mind maps of the CSI approach. Talk about the guiding principle, as Kaimar already did. We did some nice visual graphs on it, so that helps students. We noticed that just text, plain text with words does not always help teaching, so we have videos, we have graphs, and we talk about the three main parts of the book, which is organizational change management, communication, and measurements. These are the lecture. What you see here are 5 lecture moments in the course, but they were very short. They don't have more than 30 slides. And the other modules we will see in the next slide in the agenda are about the assignments. So this is a little agenda. of the course, the introduction, the journey. We will show here the case we're working with. Then you can see in blue, which is the lecture ones, and you can see here in the gray ones are the working. You can see we have more time for assignments and working and do things together. And the lecture is just short, briefly explaining to the students, okay, now we have seen this, we have applied that, we give you a little bit of information, for example, of organizational change, and we go for the next step to apply it. And then we do a little bit lecture and do the next step to apply this. So that's the way the course is built up. We do have an exam preparation on the second day. But we do recommend that students not to take the second day the exam. The exam is not so easy. It's Bloom level 2, 3 and 4. So that means it's there are hard questions there, difficult questions. You have to read a case and apply some questions to the case study. So that's why we do prepare the students to take the exam, but we recommend to take some days to study it. The scenario we use in our course is based on the Easy Journey Airways. It's an airplane company that has different services and they have different challenges. So during these 2 days we will have 3 different situations related. Yeah, we have an improvement on the service, a disruption, and we have a new service. If you hit the bottom again, we can see that the improving of the service has to do with the baggage drop system, and disruption of service has to do with the baggage handling system, and a new service is the Easy Journey Airways wants to have internet on board. So how do we introduce a new service? The nice thing about this is it's just like we see it in real life. We have different challenges in real life, in the life cycle of the services, and everybody who is maybe making new applications or running software or installing services, or who is an engineer on a current job, they have to do with interruption on the services. There are new services who will come along. They have to take decisions on how do we do the service design related to that. Has to do with how do we improve services, what do we need to measure to know what we should improve, what is our customer thinking about the service, what they need to change. So these are real scenarios we see in daily job. That's why we try to involve this in the case, in the scenario, so that we can talk about it. And it's also possible to bring on your own cases that you have in your daily job, so also to relate with some of these scenarios. In the exam, the cruise along cars is one of the cases used there. We will also, as I explained, we also take some time to talk about cruise along cars. We will analyze the case study and we will do some questions related with the case study. The case study has 4 companies involved. It's the DriveUcom, the University of Bagsta, and the Global City IT Services, and the Navigation State Department of Transportation. These are different companies involved with the cruise along cars. That means that self-driving cars, there's a university involved who and a software developing company who's developing the software. We really thought about, is it wise not to do all the training along cruise along cars? But then our experiences let us know that if we offer different courses, it's more easy to answer questions in the exam, but also to apply to the daily job. So that makes it more possible. The more different cases you use, the more people get experience in adapting and adopting ITIL. That's why we offer both, and we even give the possibility for, if you want to bring your own case study, you can also bring along this case study to work with. The material of our course is ready to do that. But we offer all the information extra to it as well. So this is a little bit about our course, the ITIL Practitioner we are offering. Thank you very much for your listening, and if you have any question, you can let us know.
Yeah, thank you, Claudine. Thank you, Kaimar. We have a few. One of the questions is, and I think this is one for you, Claudine, why the improved service disruption scenarios in the case study are not related to IT services?
yeah, what you see is it is related with IT in the sense that nowadays, and I suppose you have it in your Reddit job as well, if there is a service interrupted, for example, the baggage handling system is interrupted, can be due to an IT problem because applications were not synchronized, or a service getting down, or a network failure, or anything. So the important thing about this course is to understand what's happening with the customer when our services break down. What do we need to do in order to improve the satisfaction of our customers or our users? What does it do with our users? How do they react? And how do we need to react? In previous courses you also see, okay, we talk about IT stuff and we repair. Now an incident we repair, we repair. And nowadays, for example, in Agile teams or in DevOps teams, we see incidents, and then our client is saying, no, but I don't want it resolved yet. You need to first release this application, or I need you to work on this before, and then we come to the incident. And this is a little bit disruptive, and people say, okay, but ITIL says we have to solve incident first, right? Yeah, but what ITIL also says is the voice of the customer. What is the customer saying? What you have agreements with the customers and the satisfaction of your customer. So that's why we introduce these case studies, which actually makes the students aware of the experience of the user when services break down.
Okay, clear answer. Thank you. Kaimar, a question for you. Does AXELOS have practitioner for other phases, such as strategy, design, transition, etc.? Can you answer this?
Okay, thank you. So ITIL Practitioner is across the whole life cycle. There is and will be no specific ITIL Practitioner qualifications for specific life cycle stages. So it draws on the CSI approach from the CSI life cycle stage. It doesn't replace the CSI intermediate, because the CSI approach is only a very small part of the whole CSI life cycle stage. So it doesn't replace any existing ones, and there is and will be only one practitioner which is useful for anyone regardless of the life cycle stage.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Another one for you, Kaimar. As we understand that ITIL Practitioner is based upon CSI approach, then how do we differentiate it with ITIL Lifecycle CSI or its substitute ITIL Lifecycle CSI?
Yeah, thank you. So it doesn't, as I said, so for the CSI lifecycle intermediate covers the whole lifecycle stage. It covers the context for CSI. It talks more in more detail about the CSI register as well, and so on and so on. So it's kind of as a training course. It's 3 days of creating the context and understanding how the CSI lifecycle stage really fits around everything else in the life cycle. So as you see from the graph as well, it's around rather than after. And CSI is where we would usually recommend people to start as well. So it's not about you should start with incident management or you should start with change management. Actually, you should start with CSI, because that will give you the guidance on what is the most important process for your organization today. So yeah, practitioner draws from the CSI lifecycle stage, but it doesn't replace the CSI intermediate qualification. The overlap is minimal.
Okay, thanks. Also a question related to ITIL Expert. You know, people who are at that level, why do they need to consider this certification? You know, what will they gain by doing ITIL Practitioner?
So one of the things we haven't covered that well previously in other IT qualifications is the organization change management part. So we put quite a lot of focus and efforts in that, and that's something that people usually struggle with, even on the expert level. So again, the qualification was designed based on the feedback from the market, from the community about what the challenges are, and organization change management came out as something which is a common shared challenge across the world, across the levels of qualification as well, so even on the ITIL expert level. And the guiding principles is something that is useful to keep in mind at all times. As I said before, it hasn't been that explicitly explained before, so this is something ITIL experts would find very useful as well. And practicing the CSI approach will most likely, for most ITIL experts, mean that their efforts will be way easier for them so it's easier to follow the 6 steps and actually deliver value for the organization.
Yeah, okay. Claudine, a question for you. Can you tell something about the duration of the exam and the scores required to pass?
Okay, let me check the agenda. The exam is 1 hour and 45 minutes. The pass rate is 65%. There are 14 multiple choice questions. It's an open book exam, as I told you, so that would be, you would think that it's very easy, but you will not have enough time to look up all the answers, so there should be some information ready already in your head during the course to be able to answer the most easy questions. The Bloom exam questions 4, I imagine you will need to book to find it and to apply it. And the scenarios is the ones I just told you about.
Okay, thank you. I do not see any new questions coming in, so it's also time to end this webinar. I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and we hope that you found this session both educational and informative. For more information, you can also check quintgroup.com or axelos.com to learn more and get access to white papers, more information, the training course itself, etc. I want to thank Claudine, Claire and Kaimar for joining this webinar, and maybe we meet again. Thank you all and have a nice day.
Thank you.
Thank you.